Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. 2 hotels whose leases are expiring soon are working on new agreements. Also tonight, we have an update on the dengue fever case that was reported in Saipan. And DPS is seeking your help in locating suspects involved in a hit and run with a pedestrian. In sports, the Battle of the Channel goes to overtime. Typhoon ready. Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
"48 hours. That's all we get in a week. But those 48 hours, we try to make them last forever. How? By filling in fast with all the right stuff. With a lot of laughter, a little drama, some adventure, and a whole lot of love."
Dad, Mom's here.
It happens pretty quick,
Bye, Dad.
but it's cool. Because the rest of the week, we talk about our plans
You want to go to the beach?
on how to make the next 48 hours last us a lifetime.
At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
Half a day, Tiruwami, and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Thursday, August 29th, 2019. Could help come from the federal government in averting a local crisis that threatens to severely damage the CNMI economy and separate families? Our Chris Nelson sits down with the CNMI Secretary of Labor, Viki Benavente.
It is not something to take lightly. I feel that this is going to be, we're in a crisis situation with regards to the business community, which affects the community at large. But also, I'm hopeful that with the communication we've been having with the U.S. Department of Labor, particularly the Office of Foreign Labor Certification, we've aired all of our concerns to the office. So we've told them that businesses have been waiting several weeks for step 1 to be approved to go to step 2. There's some instances where an occupation was changed by the U.S. DOE and not the employer, and it doesn't make sense. The employer should know what occupation he needs for that position. There's also some instances of delays in step 2 to 3, which is our step, which is from the prevailing wage to TLC to JVA announcement. So I think most of the concerns are the time frame. Employers are telling me they're not going to make it by the September 30th cutoff. So, my appeal to the employers to continue the procedure, and we are working with U.S. DOE to see if there's any way they can either grant an extension.
The new procedures implemented this year have created a bottleneck, and with most of the workforce expiring on the very same day, this bottleneck is threatening the jobs of thousands at the exact same time, and in turn the CNMI economy. Benavente says she is getting a lot of questions.
I think the toughest thing is really hearing the businessmen's concern that they're worried about their employees. Do we send them home? They're asking me, Secretary, do we send them home by the 10th of September? Or do we wait until the permits are actually expired and then they become overstayers? And so based on my legal counsel's advice, is never give legal advice, but the gist of it is I tell them seek a lawyer's advice to be sure you're within the parameters of the law, public laws. But also, I can't tell them for certain whether they should keep their employees here past the 30th. I can't tell them to send them home before the 30th. I can't. So that's the difficult part. It's not the uncertainty of these people, not just the business, but the employees, and their families. Yeah, it's a really tough situation for a lot of our people out there.
As we previously reported, the governor has written to the U.S. Department of Labor. Congressman Sablan left for Washington yesterday. Congress is currently in recess, but Khalili has a meeting scheduled for tomorrow with the U.S. Department of Labor. More details as this story develops. 2 major hotels with expiring leases are working with DPL on new agreements. Meanwhile, DPL says they are working on some new financial formulas to help make a deal that makes sense. Our Chris Nelson has the details.
I just want to emphasize that we are not asking for what we're paying today. We are going to be paying a lot more than we're paying today, but we want to be paying in market conditions that exist in the region and use those comparables as a basis for that.
Under current DPL regulations, the rent at Fiesta and Hyatt would jump more than 10 times because DPL's new formula for expired leases takes the value of the hotel and the property, adds them together, and then calls for 5% rent of that number each year with a percentage of gross revenue tacked on. Hyatt, Fiesta, and the Hotel Association are asking for a second look. What was her message to you, or what did she say to you?
She wants to keep Hyatt on the island. So, of course, it's going to be a new contract. So we have to come up with a new agreement. But she wanted to know what kind of condition is acceptable for us. And we told her this kind of condition could be acceptable. And she told, I think, Hanmi at some point their thoughts, their idea about the new condition. But Hanmi told that department, please consider it again. So now she's under new consideration.
The current regulation formula does not work with improvements. We have done our first appraisal, and based on that appraisal, it is actually a little greater than the $250,000 a month. And so it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in our bottom line. I talked about the average daily rate in the Commonwealth. That average daily rate in the Commonwealth could not pay for the leases that are being proposed by calculation. So that's why this study is important. We're hopeful it's done by September 1. Time is ticking. We have a lot of organizations need a plan, and having a year to do so while we're still trying to get our contracts negotiated is a tough sell to a lot of groups, right? And so we need to get this done sooner rather than later. The administration's working with us, DPL's working with us, and I think we'll be successful.
DPL says they are working on a number of scenarios to bring back to the bargaining table.
I think it comes down to 5% is too high, according to our developers, to our clients. It's too high, so we need to come down from there and find a happy medium.
And so to do that, you're going to come up with a recommendation,
yes.
and then DPL.
And then DPL will meet with Hanmi and discuss the several scenarios that I've developed.
I see. And then do you have to change your internal regulations?
Yes, and
so
it'll
does that
take
mean publish in the
yes, Commonwealth Register.
Yeah.
What we're looking for, and this is the preliminary scenario pending her final study, is currently, say one of the hotels pays $330,000 a year. Right. We're looking at. They've already said that, look, 5% fair market value is going to kill us. We're out. We definitely don't want to do that. We're looking at, for the matured leases, treating it on a separate bracket from the existing leases, right? So all those that have gone through their 40-year time frame, treating it, and this is unconfirmed until, but just a scenario, that throwing that fair market value percentage down, so not 5%, perhaps 2%. Now, all the existing leases pay, on top of fair market value, their basic rent, we collect BGRT, a percentage of BGRT. And there's a bracket. You make from $0 to $50,000 a year, we collect 2%. You make higher, we collect higher. The more they make, the more we make, right? So the intention of this study is to find what that number is. If we drop the fair market value percentage from 5% to say 2.5% and increase the BGR from the existing, from the leases that haven't matured, have a different threshold, and increase that BGR and kind of align it with what their current lease would be 10 years from now. Say they haven't matured yet, just to make sure that it is escalating, but it's escalating at an appropriate level, meeting market demand, never going lower than where we're at. Right. So Article 6 of all of our leases say rent will never be lower than the previous cycle.
Thank you, Chris. We have an update on the one case of dengue fever that was reported on the island of Saipan earlier this month. Dengue fever is a mosquito-borne tropical disease caused by the dengue virus. The Commonwealth Healthcare Corporation says the patient was a resident of the Sinai that recently returned from a trip to Palau, where they believe the patient contracted the infection. There currently have been no further confirmed cases, and the patient with the confirmed virus has recovered with no complications. CHCC states that approximately 1 in 4 people infected with dengue fever will get sick, but does not usually require hospitalization. For more information on dengue fever, contact the CHCC Public Health and Hospital Emergency Preparedness Program at 234-8950. The Department of Public Safety is seeking your help in locating suspects involved in a hit-and-run incident involving a pedestrian. DPS was called to Girapan after receiving a call stating a female and her husband were about to cross the street to DFS Galleria when an older model Toyota Camry ran the red light and drove near the victim, running over her foot. The couple were able to walk to a local establishment to call 911, but the victim refused to be taken to the hospital. The case remains ongoing. If you have any information relating to the hit and run that took place in Girapan, call 911, or if you wish to remain anonymous, you may call the Sinai Crime Stoppers at 234-7272. Governor Gov Torres has signed House Bill 21-71, the MPLT loan companion bill, into Public Law 21-6. This is to amend Public Law 21-3, which is to loan $15 million from the Marianas Public Land Trust. Under the law signed by Governor Torres, it states the loan is to be used to pay emergency disaster relief and recovery expenses that were incurred by the Commonwealth as a result of Super Typhoon U2. This includes reimbursement for expenses that have already been paid by the Commonwealth. Coming up, keeping those animals off the streets, that is exactly what Saipan Mayor David Apateng is working to do. Find out more after the break.
Get your daily serving of 4G LTE data with IT&E's daily prepaid plans. Choose from the best priced plans in the Marianas. Get 1 gigabyte of data for $2.50 a day, or choose a $1.50 or $2 plan. Need more data? Top up. Get 100 megabytes for $1 or 1 gigabyte for $10. Visit any IT&E store or call us to learn more and ask about our prepaid loyalty plan. IT&E. Explore your world.
Traveling or laying over on Guam? Don't wait around. Zip into Guam Adventures Zipline Park inside the Hilton Resort and Spa. Guides will take you through a series of zips, starting with a mountain course and then zip over the ocean with spectacular views of Tumon Bay. 6 zip lines in all deliver a thrilling experience, and it's family friendly, so bring the kids ages 6 and up. You'll love the security of double lines and a new braking system to make riding smoother. The towers are named after the islands in the Marianas. We call it the Island Hopper. Your guides will teach you what you need to know to soar through the jungle with a bird's eye view. Best of all, for residents of Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, you can book this experience at 20% savings. Log on to GuamAdventures.com and during checkout, use offer code HAFA20. Book it and zip it today. We'll even pick you up.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. Saipan Mayor David Apateng is working to keep the animals off the streets and is in the process of getting a new animal shelter to do just that. Here are the details. It's been in the works for 5 years, a new animal shelter to keep the furry friends off the streets.
Our animal shelter was a lower base, the original one, but it was actually demolished during Typhoon Southerler. We had funding to renovate it. But that area is a flood zone area, so FEMA required us to raise it up to at least 6 feet, and we just cannot afford that. We don't have the funding for that. So we turned around and requested FEMA if we can allow us to transfer that money instead of renovation, construct a new shelter. And that was approved by FEMA, and then we asked Public Works to work on the building specifications, and put it out on bid. And that took a while also. Took about almost 3 years.
And just when everything was ready to kick off with construction, Super Typhoon U2 hit the Sinamai.
Of course, after the typhoon, everybody's overloaded. Public Works overloaded with a lot of construction issues also, repair. So it took some time. So after the design and all that and bid it out, we went out and checked if we can go ahead and start the groundbreaking. However, FEMA came in and says before we start, they need to get their approval. They sent us a letter that they need to do environmental assessment.
Another issue Mayor Apateng says they are facing is permitting.
But the other issues are other permitting, the historic preservation here. We still have to go to the U.S. Permitting agencies, Army Corps of Engineers.
Mayor Apateng says the funding is there, and once the permits are signed and FEMA gives the final approval, construction will kick off. The new location of the animal shelter will be built in Perdido.
We're ready to do it. I wanted to build that shelter 3 years ago because right now we're just working with quarantine. We're using part of the quarantine shelter, and it's not really good for us. So as much as we want to construct the shelter and finish up for our animals and all that, those are the delays.
The cost of the total project is around $537,000, and Mayor Apateng does ask members of the community to keep your animals on a leash.
There's a lot of stray dogs are running around, and I just want to ask our people here, the community, if you have animals, please put them on leash. A lot of them like to have pets and all that, but once they have puppies and all that, if you don't want to keep them, call us so we can pick them up, and we'll take care of them. Don't let them loose in the community, because when they start growing up and start multiplying, start chasing kids, students from school, and that's beginning to be the endangering our students.
If you do have a stray dog or cat that needs to be picked up, you can contact the mayor's office at 670-234-6208. Reporting for KSPN, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Thank you, Ashley, and welcome back.
All right, coming up, a look back at the tournament that was. Soccer is the goal of the KSPN2 Sports Institute of Excellence.
Faster, easier to use. With live TV, recordings, video on demand, and streaming apps, all in a single place. When you're looking for something new, recommendations are tailored to you. Voice-powered, personalized results to find what you want faster. And the unlimited potential of smart home. The new experience from TiVo is here.
Bubblegum Shrimp Company opens daily at 11 a.m. Located on Beach Road in the heart of Garapan.
You deserve more. I know it's been hard. Come on, let's go for a ride.
Hi, welcome to Dow Rental.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this feels like home.
Dial Rent Own, making lives better since 1987.
Buenas sports fans. Buenas sports fans, what a game. The U18 basketball championship between the Rollers and the old Aces was simply a highlight machine. The final game of the Pacific Amusement Rollers Summer Youth Basketball League saw the Tinian Typhoon in black taking on the old Aces in green singlets. Greg Santos hits the turnaround. A shot like that will bring a smile to your face every time. Tinian Typhoon up by 4 early in the second half. Kobe Santos with the swipe, the bounce pass to Aten Iverson, and the old Aces were up by 6. Aaron Borja from Northfield, and Tinian halves the deficit. Dio Epiti in the lane. Oh, you got to give him that. The hoop and the harm. Will he make the free throw? Of course he will make the free throw. The game was knotted at 51s with 48 seconds to go. Final ticks for the championship. Bobby Rages? No. Kobe Santos tips the ball to himself, throws inside. Leo knocks it away, and we're going to overtime. Extra fun. Santos to Iverson. Oh, rejected by Greg. Typhoon blowing. Tyler Santos connects with Regis to put them up by 3 with 28 seconds remaining. Tyler seals the deal. Tinian fans glad they made the journey. 60-57. Well, last weekend, the Northern Mariana Islands Football Association held its first international competition since U2. The Coblerville Training Center, I'm happy to report, passed the test. The training facility in Coblerville was severely damaged by the super typhoon last October, rendering it unplayable. The mini pitch was ripped out, the lights smashed, fencing blown down. But with the assistance of the Asian Football Confederation, hundreds of thousands of dollars have been spent on repairs, and today there is scant visual reminder of those damages. The field looks good as new. Dozens of staff and volunteers came together to give this exhibition series a real international feel. Look, they even lined up the water bottles straight. The field was tested Monday evening by hard rain, but there was never any discussion of canceling the game. Get wet or go home, and they chose to get wet. Puddles were everywhere except on the pitch, which has a drainage system below the turf and is crowned slightly to allow runoff. Players, they slipped and slided and got drenched, but the turf stayed true. International play offers locals to see how other teams play and react, and this is what we saw. The visitors were club teams from Beijing, China, who took arguing to a higher level than we usually see on Saipan. Referee Don Cabrera bore the brunt of it, but he never lost his cool. Blessed are the peacemakers, and there was peace after that. While that was entertaining, even better was the play of Lian Wong, who was flying around. I guess maybe those are airplane goggles that he's wearing. Emotions ran high during these games for the visitors, but after it was all over, it was all camaraderie and smiles. Part of the game and the tournament and experience. Here's the wind-up and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Let's roll at Gold's Gym Saipan with group exercise for every body. Total Resistant Exercise, or TRX, helps develop your core and improve strength. And Zumba toning is probably the funnest way to get fit. The Shake Cafe is a great place to stop by for a meal replacement or supplements. Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was hot today. 90 degrees the high, the low 79. Heat index, 107. Yeah, it did feel hot today. Humidity 70%. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, isolated showers, easterly winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. High 90, low 78, seas 3 to 4 feet. Sunrise 4 past 6 in the morning. A high tide at 6:31, followed by a low tide at 1:40. Sunset at 6:31.
All right, thank you, Bob, for that.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
Where'd you go? I didn't even, well, I missed you. So.
Yeah, I was just here and there, a little everywhere.
Flying around?
Flying around.
Yeah.
Get my time. But I tell you, though,
not much happening here, huh?
Yeah, it looks like some rain, though.
It
looks like I missed it.
It's like we got impending disasters, and we got all kinds of stuff going on. But you'll get up to full speed tomorrow. Yeah. So she just came in today, folks. Yeah. So a long trip.
Long trip, and hopefully back on the grind,
Good
back in the roll of things.
And then wake up tomorrow and find out what the new disaster is.
Yes. A little bit of catching up and ready to roll.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. You have a great rest of your night. Tune in tomorrow night at 6.
Good night.